cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is For Women Wednesday. I'm your host, Freddie G, joined by my co-host, K Money, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast. On Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome to another Women Wednesday. Okay, today's episode is for people in relationships they no longer want to be in. They've been wanting to call it quits for a long time, but yet they still remain. I have one question for you. Why? Okay, fellas, it's time to pull back the curtains and expose the reasons why people stay in unhealthy relationships. So, starting with you, K Money.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me a reason why a person would stay in an unhealthy relationship and why?
Yeah, it's cheaper to keep her.
Okay, I can see that. Even if you're not married to her?
Yeah. I mean, well, some people are together so long to where they may not believe in getting married, but the relationship, they're is as if common law.
Okay, I got you. What about you, Slash?
Well, I'm going to say some of them possibly because of low self-esteem issues. Maybe they don't have their own in order to be on their own. You know, they're scared to leave a relationship of some, and go where they can't afford to live on their own,
Okay, and what about you, Comedian 96?
I got three answers. You mind if I say it?
Sure.
Comfortability. They get comfortable. Complacency. And then it's towards the end of that relationship where neither one of them are happy. This is the one that a lot of people go through for long periods of time. The other party don't want to see the other party get with no one. The girl don't want to see the guy with no one else, and the guy don't want to see the girl with no one else. So they just stay in an unhappy relationship.
They just need to be together if that's the case.
It happens.
And stay in that relationship.
That is the worst part of the relationship. A lot of people will stay around only so the other person doesn't date anybody else. I see it a lot.
Okay. Well, so I created a list here as to reasons why people stay in unhealthy relationships. And the first reason is you fear, or they fear, of being alone. Nobody wants to be alone. They assume that being with anyone is better than being alone.
That's a good one, yeah. That is a great that I think that falls under the lines of what Slash said. Their confidence level, they feel like they probably can't catch nobody else. They used to the person they've been with.
So that's a self-esteem issue.
Yeah, that's self-esteem.
You agree with that, K Money?
I do.
Okay. So another reason why people remain in unhealthy relationships is fear of starting over. That kind of lines up with what you said, K Money. Is cheaper to keep her?
Yeah.
You think? The fear of starting over.
Yes and no. I just think, you get in a certain routine when you're in a relationship for a long time, and just to break that routine, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm saying yes and no. I can't really elaborate on that, though.
I think some people don't want to go through the pain.
Yeah, there you go.
Of being without somebody, depending on how long they've been together and how they felt about each other. Because in some situations you have one person have a stronger feeling about the other person, and the other person don't have that same. So I think that can become an issue where it's like, okay, I it's no point in me leaving
So it's almost like you've already invested a significant amount of time and energy into the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about you remaining in an unhealthy relationship because you're hoping that your partner will tap into their potential?
Say that again.
You remain in that relationship because you're hoping that your partner tap into their potential.
So basically, you're waiting for them to become whole within themselves and allow themselves to love you the way you love them, pretty much.
Well, I get what you're saying, but like, for instance, like, you believe, first of all, an unhealthy relationship can be caused by a number of things, right? They can love you like a motherfucker, but they can't keep a job. Y'all lights constantly getting turned off. That person's constantly drinking, constantly getting high. And the relationship is just unhealthy. Now, they love you. They're not beating on you, but they just can't get a job or can't keep a job, constantly drinking, constantly getting high. But check this out. They're smart. They're college educated. So you know that the potential is there. So what you're doing is you're hanging on to a relationship, hoping that they tap into their potential to be able to land that job that you know that they can go and do, to hope that, hey, you're better than this alcohol that you're constantly drinking and you're constantly getting high. You're better than this.
Yeah.
And so they're holding on to that potential rather than actually seeing the person that's in front of them.
And to me, that seems like that'll make it even more unhealthy if you waiting for somebody to become potential. You know what their what their faults are, and I'm not saying that you disappear on somebody because of how they are, because you're supposed to accept people with their flaws. But I'm just saying some of these things that's being mentioned are flaws, and if you notice that there's a flaw, then why sit around and wait for somebody to become potential when they got all these flaws that you know that's unhealthy? That makes no sense.
I agree with you, Slash.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's another reason, and let me know if y'all agree or disagree, why people remain in unhealthy relationships. They don't know themselves, meaning that they don't know who they are outside of being in a relationship.
Yeah, it's not gonna work at all like that then, because you have to know who you are before you involve yourself in a relationship.
You shouldn't even be involved if you're not sure who you are.
Right.
You in line because you go in fronting. I see this all the time. Fronting. I got this. I got that. I'm gonna take care of you. And really, the whole time, your motives is totally different. But now you in a relationship. Now you gotta show and prove what you said you was gonna do for her, or vice versa. It could be her for him. And it doesn't. What you showed that you were in the beginning, because your motives was not genuine.
Right, genuine is the key word.
Yeah,
Not genuine.
you end
So
up.
I get what you guys are saying, but let me paint this picture, right? And this usually deals with a lot of women. So you're in a relationship with a man, right? Let's say it's a man that has a lavish lifestyle, that plays sports, hypothetical, that plays sports. And you are a homemaker because he doesn't want you to work. You're faithful to him. You're not a gold digger. You are a good catch for him, for what he's looking for, right? But he's working because he plays sports. He pays all the bills, but he's always gone. He's never at home. And you're lonely. You're sad, although you know his occupation, but you're still human. You're lonely. You're sad. And so you try to be everything that you want, that you think he would want you to be, but it's still not fulfilling for yourself. So now the relationship is unhealthy, and you've been this housewife for 15 years. You've been a homemaker for 15 years. So now it's like, I'm getting old. What do I do now? This relationship is not working. What do I do now? Because I don't know myself outside of being in this relationship, being this housewife. I don't know myself outside of that.
The best thing she can do, excuse me, at this point, is go and find her a job and do something different than what you were doing in order to take your mind off being a housewife.
Hopefully she has a skill or a trade.
That's the obvious. But remember, that's easier said than done, because I don't know myself outside of this marriage. This is all I've ever known.
Well, I need to be her therapist, because I would tell her, look, I understand what you're saying, but if you want a better you out of this situation, these are the steps you're going to have to take, because you're going to have to forget about this 15 years of being a housewife in order to get past this where you at right now.
But think about, I'm sorry, Freddie.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just think about how much the world can change in 15 years. So, it is much easier said than done, because you've been complacent on being a housewife, and all of a sudden you have to go into the workforce.
Yeah.
And the skill set that you may have had 15 years ago has totally changed. It may not even be relevant.
Walmart door greeter.
And keep in mind, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. The title of the show is Reasons Why People Stay in Unhealthy Relationships. Not saying that she won't or she can't go and reinvent herself, but the reason why they stay is because they don't know themselves outside of this.
And reinventing yourself can also be draining. The energy that it'll take to try to find who you are now can be draining, and they may not want to go through that.
Okay. Here's another reason why people stay in unhealthy relationship. Their partner is emotionally abusive. Keyword, emotionally abusive.
So they stay
in it
to deal with emotion.
They stay in emotional abusive relationships. You guys can't see that?
Not staying, leaving, but not staying.
I think one of the reasons why people stay in these unhealthy relationships, whether it's abusive or whatever, is due to the fact they got kids together. That's most of the main reason some of these marriages go on so long, and these people are unhappy in these marriages because they have kids. And I can understand where that makes a bigger statement on, okay, we're trying to raise a healthy adult in an unhealthy relationship. So you have to be strong in order to do that. I mean, that would be my only reason for staying in an unhealthy relationship. If that was a situation for me, it would have to be kids involved. And I want to raise them a certain way, and for them to see a household a certain way, for their for them being better people, or understanding how it should go, it would have to be for kids, but nothing else, man, for me. I mean,
okay, so now for these people who stay in unhealthy relationships because their partner is emotionally abusive, emotionally abused people question their instincts and doubt themselves. A person who is regularly gaslights and manipulates their partner, they don't take accountability, right? And they cause their partners to feel as if they're always wrong. So if you're being emotionally abused, at some point it takes a psychological hold on you, and you don't even trust your own instincts now, because damn well. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. So, if I come in and I say, hey, don't take this goddamn trash out until I say take it out, blah, 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 right? Because y'all don't know if I got some stuff to throw away, right? And I'm constantly going off about that. Now, I come in one day and the trash is overflowed to the point to where it's all over the floor. And a person with common sense know that, okay, I just need to take the trash out. It's falling all over the floor. Mm-hmm. But you so damn scared of this emotional abuse or how I'm going to react, you questioning whether or not you should even take this trash out.
Knowing you're going to get cussed out because
I see it all overflowing. I see it's all over the place. It's everywhere. But the last time I did that, it wasn't overflowing, but he was tripping. So I don't know if I should take this trash out or not.
That sound like they just ain't got no common sense.
But I see the gaslight. What you mean? Because you have those people that make you second. Man, it could be something you doing correctly. I get up, I wash my face, brush my teeth, and she could hit you with something like, "Why do you do it in that order? It's better if you drink some water first and then rinse it." And just make you think, "Damn, have I been doing this wrong my whole life?" And really, it's just the way she does it. She just want to be right, or it could be vice versa. He could be right and want to be right, and it just makes you think, "Damn, am I doing it wrong?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, believe it or not, there's people who are emotionally abused, and they stay in those relationships even though they're emotionally abused. So here's another reason why people stay in unhealthy relationships: over functioning in the relationship. So here's the deal. You may have learned a person may have learned to associate love with having to earn it and fight for it in order for the relationship to be real. You're conditioned to fix, save, or fight for the relationship at the expense of yourself. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So for a person who's in a relationship, some of these people are like, well, if you don't fight for it, then you must don't love me. Or you gotta earn my love.
Yeah. I think that's when it becomes, to me, that's kind of some sort of emotion deal. Reason why I say that is because emotional and manipulative, actually.
That's a good word right there. It is,
yeah.
Because if I tell you not fighting for me, and you say, okay, well, I need to fight harder, and now you start changing what you do to be with somebody, they controlled your mind at that point.
Exactly. I just seen a clip. Y'all probably seen this same clip. It was one of them R&B divas, R&B housewife. She was kind of thick girl. She was saying, you know what? I've made a decision, and I think we should just go ahead and part ways. So the dude was like, okay. She got up. So you're not gonna fight for me? Yeah. Wait, I thought he was like, well, you just said your mind was made up.
See, here's the thing. Knowing your significant other, it has a lot to do with whether or not you can be manipulated or whether or not they're going to be able to manipulate you. You have to already know this about this person. Because Comedian 96, you were saying that you have to fight for them, or, yeah. And in two ways, if she going to sit there and tell you that, then she knows that it's going to affect you in a major way to make you want to try to get back at her. And then what she'll start doing is little game playing.
Exactly. And that's what females have to understand.
Now she's just dragged you in to this emotional deal.
Yeah.
That's going to make you stay.
And here's the thing. This is what females don't understand. I'm grown. See, back in the day, I would have worked 19, 20, 21, 25, 20, somewhere around there. Now, my thought is, why should I fight for you if you're going to another dude on your own? Why? If he's raping you, I'll fight for you. If he's raping you, if he's bothering you, pestering you, I'll fight for you. But if you're willingly calling this man and saying, hey, or vice versa, the girl could be calling the guy, or the guy could be calling the girl, it doesn't matter. Why fight for some shit that you fucking with me with games? I ain't got time to play with you.
I think because women have this thing to where they feel like they want to know how much you care. You have to care.
I don't care if you're if you're going to talk to
But
another
that's
guy,
because,
calling
and see,
him.
what she's doing is giving herself space to do you dirty. You feel what I'm saying? That's the space
But see,
that she's getting.
She playing with fire because you can go and go with the new person.
That's right.
So-
And most men,
Yeah.
So you wouldn't consider the feelings that you had, you would just let them go just like that?
If it's that easy for, here's the thing. I don't want you to hurt me more because, you know, I'm kind of crazy, right? So I don't want you to hurt me more. So I'm going to let you go. Because the more and more I get feelings for you, the more and more my actions could do. You can do stuff at that split second shit that gets you locked up. I don't want to be in a situation when I'm doing split second things where I'm, oh man, why you do that? No, go. You're not finna give me at
goddamn
this
went
age.
around here and mauled some goddamn body.
Yeah. I'll let you want to do that. Go with him. Go. I'm not finna fight if you willingly call this man and you done just to try to make me jealous. Go. Bye. See you.
Yeah.
See, I ain't finna. Man, bye.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people not that strong, and women know their
I'm gonna cry. Don't
significant
get it wrong.
other.
Don't get it twisted. I'm gonna cry for 2 months. I know I am.
Women know whether
But-
they man is strong or not, and gonna go through that manipulation.
Right,
stage.
but I have too much to lose to even just like if you're not by my side, I got too much to lose. I can't deal with a girl that's not
that's
on my
definite.
team
Yeah,
like
I
that.
mean, that's grown men feel like that.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a
not
grown
gonna deal
man
with that.
Thought.
Bye.
Okay, and so another reason why people stay in unhealthy relationships is they're confusing chemistry for compatibility. So when there's a strong chemistry early on, it can be mistaken for compatibility.
Yes,
And red flags may be overlooked.
I think
So a person creates a fantasy relationship in their head rather than seeing the person that's actually in front of them. So letting go of the relationship means having to face the fact that their fantasy that's in their head
Is dead.
is not real
Yeah.
at all.
so. I'm gonna say I'm gonna oppose that. I'm gonna say accountability. I'm gonna say this is another show we had long. We talked about this. I don't look for compatibility. I look for connection. There's a difference. Compatibility, yeah, we both like spinach. We both like smothered pork chops. That's connection. That's what's the word? Look, we just said it. Not accountable. That's
Compatible.
compatible. That's the word I'm looking for. It
So,
just
but
slipped
you
up.
said you look for
Connection. So that means the connection is not sparks, but more of that person getting. We're on the same page.
So let me ask you this, because you said connection,
Yeah.
right? Now I just said that the reason for people staying in unhealthy relationship is they confuse chemistry
Chemistry.
with compatibility. So my question to you is chemistry and connection different for you?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Okay. Chemistry is more of along the lines of compatibility, right?
I just said
I know.
they confuse chemistry for compatibility. So
Okay.
obviously
So
those are two different
let me
things.
let me make the connection part clear. Connection is I meet a female and she says, I just want a man that I want to get on his page so I can help him out. That's what I'm looking for. That's a connection, right? And I want to help her. You know, I'm looking for a woman. I want to help her out.
Okay,
so that's our connection. That's that's
the
bam.
that's the connection.
That's the connection. Now
Okay.
we can plug and play, so to speak.
So
we can plug and play. Since
that
we can,
connection.
but if
She says she's looking for what now?
that she's looking, or if she says to me, "I'm looking for a man that I can support, that can nurture me and help me, and blah blah blah," and I'm looking for the same thing in a woman, that is a connection. Because if a woman says, "I want a dude that's going to invest in me," and blah, bye, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not a connection. That's
So-
a disconnect.
So doesn't that make y'all compatible?
No, it's a difference because a compatible could easily be Like I just said, I like fried chicken. She like fried chicken.
Well,
that's simple. Because we could have a lot of stuff in common, compatibility. We can have a lot of stuff in common, but that is not going to make the relationship. The connection between her and I is what's going to make.
So help me to understand what a chemistry is. Then
chemistry is
if you got chemistry with somebody,
man. Look,
chemistry is y'all vibing on the same page, having a good time.
I am not
chemistry
a thesaurus.
To me is more of a companionship, and connection, chemistry, compatibility. All of those live in the same house, but they're slightly different.
and that's what I'm trying to understand. So I said that people confuse chemistry for compatibility,
right?
And then I explain why. Then Comedian 96 says he looks at it from a connection point of view, and so that's where I needed clarity, because it sounds as if he's saying connection is different from chemistry.
Yeah, and they really almost the same.
And connection is totally different from compatibility. So I'm trying to get some clarity as to what is connection in his mind.
Chemistry connection could be the same if you want to. It sort of.
I think it's a thin line between the two, and trying to differentiate wouldn't be easy. But it is a thin line.
Because chemistry, when you think of chemistry, it's y'all on the same vibe. Y'all like the same type of music. Y'all do the same, like the same colors. The cars the same. That chemistry is there. Or it can be opposites attract. It's all, in the same house. And I think it depends on the two individuals where this is happening in order for them to make a decision on whether or not it would be connectivity or a chemistry deal. Because connectivity means our chemistry was there and now we locked in, to me.
Okay. All right. So the next reason that I have listed here is the reason why people stay in unhealthy relationships is because they believe their relationships are hard and this is just a rough patch in the road. So basically relationships are hard and they require work. But truthfully, relationships shouldn't be hard. A relationship shouldn't require you to sacrifice your values and sense of self.
I think this is to each his own, because if you know that somebody, like you say, a potential in somebody, if you have a potential in somebody, if they care enough about you to change anything about themselves. And I know that people stay in relationships, but I think that these situations make it harder because, relationships are hard and, it can be a rough patch. But at the same time, the person that you're dealing with, if they even had a potential for you to hang around that long. I mean, I don't know why anybody would stay in an abusive relationship, period. But people do.
So I get it. So you hear this a lot, especially when it comes to marriage. You always hear marriage is work.
Mm-hmm. It's a job.
Say that again.
Marriage is work. You hear that?
Work
is work. You hear that?
Is work. Okay.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, especially in marriages. When people say there's a lot of marriage in work.
Yeah, it's a job.
I mean, a lot of work in marriage. I mean, marriage is a job, and so people start to think that, okay, I'm in this relationship, and this relationship is unhealthy. But they're unconsciously not knowing that they're in an unhealthy relationship because they associate relationships as being hard.
Yeah,
they're associated with being hard and thinking that, okay, all relationships is not peaches and cream.
No.
There's going to be some rough patches in relationships.
Be a lot of them.
So, but they're not knowing that they're in an unhealthy relationship.
Well, that's why
they stay in those relationships.
When going into a relationship, this is when you have to make a decision if you're going to allow it to be a certain way You know what I'm saying? And the only way to do that is to hold that conversation with that person that you trying to enter into this relationship. You have to let it all out in the open in order to not have these issues where you're in an unhealthy relationship. Because again, I understand when you say, yeah, people stay together because they're in a relationship and they think it's just a rough patch. However, it could just be a rough patch. But how do you know? You have to have some sort of faith in your partner to just not give up if you stand in there. It's got to be something there that makes you stay and say, you know what, she got potential, and I know we can get past this.
Now, Freddie G, I could be wrong, but I've heard this from a lot of married people. And you said earlier on this particular one, relationships shouldn't be hard. But I hear a lot of married people say marriages are hard.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
That's not what you said in the beginning. You said it shouldn't be hard.
Hear what I said. Hear what I said.
Yeah.
Hear what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I say we hear oftentimes from married people that relationships are hard, that there's a lot of work in relationships.
Correct.
But what I was saying is, hey, truth of the matter is relationships shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't require you to sacrifice your values and sense of self. Your relationship shouldn't be, it actually should be a stable security force in your life rather than causing distress and disconnection from your authentic self.
Gotcha.
So I did say that a relationship shouldn't be hard. But I also said you hear a lot of married people say that, man, relationships are hard.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of work.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I misunderstood. Okay. So I agree with Slash then. I agree with Slash then.
I think people also stay for fear of having fear of considering the fact that they failed at it. You know, the fear of wanting to fail.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. And see, again, that's low self-esteem. And that's worse because now it's singular low self-esteem. You the only one with low self-esteem now. You know what I mean? Because now you feel like, man, I didn't make it. I wasn't able to do it. How does your partner feel? Did they just move on with their life and leave you behind and you the one that's low self-esteem? Or how is this? Or y'all still in a relationship but y'all not communicating these issues? That's why it's unhealthy.
Normally when it gets to that point, you're just going through the motion.
You're just going through the motion.
Yep.
Okay, well, in closing, man, after listening to today's episode and you think your relationship is unhealthy, ask yourself, is it worth continuing? This concludes another dope episode. Tune in tomorrow for Think Thursday. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember, the only way we grow is if you let them know.